Here's how to find endless profitable niches for Amazon KDP. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. For those of you new here, my name is Thomas and I am the founder of BookBeam and also a pretty experienced publisher. So in this video, we're going to be looking at several different ways of how we can always be able to find virtually endless profitable niches for publishing on Amazon KDP. Now, there are some misconceptions, usually amongst beginners, who tend to sometimes fall into this trap thinking that, oh, all the good niches are taken, all the good niches are already saturated, and that is never true for two reasons. One problem is that you might not be looking deeply enough or looking in the right places, or might not have developed this kind of like this eye or this ability to spot good niches. So sometimes there might be good niches right in front of your, right under your nose, but you might just pass them by because you haven't kind of trained yourself. So this is what this video is going to, I hope, help you to do. And two, why this is also not true is because the market is always evolving. The market is always changing. New niches and new keywords are popping up every month. People are interested in new things, and old trends are also dying. So things are always moving forward, always changing. So there's new opportunities cropping up all the time. This is always true. I was around when coloring books for adults wasn't really a thing. And then all of a sudden there were 2 to 3 books that popped up in the top 100 bestsellers that were self-published. These people made a killing, possibly even millions. So this trend just popped up, became super big, and then things evolved. There were sub niches, and this is a big market to this date. So coloring books for adult for art therapy purposes. That's just an example. All right, before we dive in, let's briefly talk about what a good niche actually is. This will probably vary based on who you are, how far you are in the journey, how experienced you are, what your budget is to invest. If you are a beginner, I would recommend that you look at niches that have, when you type in the main keyword, niches that have at least, let's say, 3 books that have a bestsellers rank below 35,000. This, I kind of tend to err towards the higher demand end of things. So 35,000, at least a couple books that have a bestsellers rank around there. Yes, 50,000 will also still be decent, but I like niches that have a lot of demand. This is still in the category of if you are a beginner. And regarding competition, you're going to be looking at probably less than 8,000 books, maybe when you type in the keyword. And remember, these are not all your direct competitors. As you go down the pages and go down the ranking list, most of the books that are lower on the list are not really that relevant. And regarding also competition, you want to also look at books that have less than 100 reviews. On page number 1, you want to have at least a few. This means that it's still reasonably easy to break into page number 1. And as you get more experienced, you can slowly start entering higher demand niches where there is more competition, but there's also more sales and more money to be made because of that huge demand. This is what I do. I'm not really that concerned about the level of competition. Yes, of course, it does still matter, but even if it's medium to high level of competition in a niche, I will still do it because, to be honest, I just know that I can perform really well. My tactics are good. I can publish a really good book. I can get good reviews, all that good stuff. I know how to do effective Amazon ads, etc., etc. So I can still rise to the top in that niche and do really, really well. So that is kind of the trajectory that you want to be moving in this kind of niche selection process as you get more experience. All right, with that mentioned and that out of the way, let's now dive into the different methods of how you can find really good niches on Amazon. Method number 1 is a tried and true method, and it is using Amazon bestselling category lists. This is a free method and it just works. You might already be familiar with it, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to give you some unique tips and insights as we explore this method. So how I usually like to use the bestseller list is I like to start at the top 100 best-selling books. When you're looking at the top 100 best-selling books, you're not looking at, oh, where are the good niches here? Of course, a lot of them are published by major, famous people and major publishing houses, etc., etc. There's big marketing budgets and brands behind these books. Sure, but what you're doing when you're looking at the top 100 best-selling books is you're trying to get a sense for where are the big trends currently? What are people interested in? Because for a book to be able to get to the top 100 best-selling books, it has to be selling thousands and thousands of copies, sometimes daily, and other times, all of them are doing thousands of copies monthly. So to get here, there have to be huge markets and huge amounts of people interested in these topics. So what can we glean from this? So, okay, here at the top 3, I'm seeing the Lost Book of Herbal Remedies. So there's an interesting keyword, herbal remedies. The insight that you're getting here is that there's a lot of people interested in this. You might not publish, this might not be the direct keyword that you go after, but there is like a big interest in herbal, in natural remedies, in that kind of general direction. What else am I seeing here? I'm seeing a lot of kids books. I'm seeing self-help, health. So all of this is informing me about where there is a lot of demand, in which directions there is a lot of demand. So more kids books, space for kids, Bible in 52 weeks, Taylor Swift. Now we dive further into the category tree. I'm gonna go to crafts, hobbies, and home. And here you see we already start seeing a lot more interesting niches. More Taylor Swift, medicinal herbs. Again, this goes together what we saw on the top list. There's a lot of demand for natural remedies. Be careful with this. It is a, whatever is medicinal and health related is more regulated. So just again, keep that in mind. We're seeing coloring books. We're seeing more coloring books. We're seeing recipes, coins, crochet, vegetable gardening, all pretty interesting. Here we see a book about knitting. We see another book about national parks quarters. We see a creepy cutie, probably a kawaii book, and another book about gardening. So plenty of leads to investigate further, to drill down further on. So what you would do with any of these niches, if they pique your interest, you just type it in to Amazon search and see what that information tells you. Perhaps you can drill down and niche down. So you put them into Amazon search to see what it shows you. All right, so that was Amazon bestseller categories. Method number 2 is a personal favorite of mine, and it is using the BookBeam niche finder tool. It's a really powerful tool that allows you to sort through and filter through millions and millions of books that are out there on Amazon, and you can filter them based on criteria like sales information, like BSR. So for example, you can ask it to show you the top-selling self-published books. You can ask it to show you the recently published top-selling self-published books, so books that were just published and are selling very well. So you can really see what's happening in the market. It's pretty much the only tool or the main tool that I use these days. I don't really use bestseller categories anymore because the niche finder is just so much more efficient, to be honest. And I'm not just saying that because it's our tool. It's really what I rely on these days to find all of my niches. It saves me a lot of time. Now here we are in the niche finder tool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select the preset. It's how you can get started really easily. What this preset did for me, it selected books that are only self-published. So here in this filter, it selected self-published books and that have a bestsellers rank from 1 to 35,000. So it has to fall in this range. I'll click find books and see what it shows me. So all right, so here are the top selling self-published books right now. So this changes as months and weeks go by. So you can do this search once in a while to again get a pulse on what is happening in the self-publishing world, what is selling at the top list. So again, here we see another Taylor Swift book, which is a shadow work journal. This one has been selling very high for a really long time. Some other good searches that you might want to do, let's leave this at 35,000, is what I briefly touched on before. So you might want to look at recently published books that are self-published and that fall within a reasonably high bestsellers rank. Now you can adjust this if you don't want it to be that high. You can put this up to 50,000, up to 50,000. So we're searching for books that are 4 months old or less, so less than 4 months old, and from a bestsellers rank from 1 to 35,000, and that are self-published. So here's what we're seeing. We're seeing some religiously themed books. We're seeing some books also that we saw before in our category search. More coloring books, word search, remedies, more remedies. That is a very popular niche, calming coloring book, handwriting workbook, more herbal stuff, mindfulness, patterns, remedies, crosswords. All right, so we're seeing some patterns already. And here's another interesting search that you can do is books that have a rating of 3.5 or less. So it's not a great rating, that are still selling well despite that rating. So you might be able to enter those niches and outperform those books and sell even better because you're going to have better reviews because you cleaned up whatever people are, you improved on whatever people are complaining about. All right, so we completed our search here. We're seeing some books in the spirituality / religious theme category. I wouldn't touch these because I believe it looks like they're taken from public domain. I wouldn't go in those directions. Minimalist art interior, that is interesting. I've seen some other stuff selling very well in those directions. Keto, always popular. And you can keep digging in this fashion, keep going down the different pages, see what else you can find. So those were just a few different searches that you can do with the BookBeam niche finder. You can get really creative with the different filters and different filter combinations to make sure that you find all the best niches and the best keywords based on what you are looking for. Method number 3 is using BookBeam's category history tool. Now don't worry, I will also show you a free alternative. So BookBeam's category history tool is a really unique tool and it's great for seasonal research. So how it works is you can go back in time and view Amazon bestseller chart in the past. So let's say you want to publish something that will do well during the holiday sales rush. You want to see what sells well during the dates leading up to Christmas and all the other holidays. What is most in demand during that holiday sales rush? You can do that with this tool. You can travel back in time. You can go to pick a date in December and see what was in the top seller categories, what was selling the most. And not only that, you can not only use it for looking at Amazon bestseller categories, you can also browse curated lists in the past. So curated lists such as the top 1,000 self-published books or the top 1,000 books with a seasonal keyword in their title, so such as Easter or Christmas or Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, etc., etc. So these lists are created through filters, and you can browse what the top 1,000 self-published books were in the past. And similarly for the other list, you can just browse through all of the books. If you want a wider search, you can see what were the top selling Christmas books. So this is a great tool for seasonal research and for when you want to optimize for the holiday sales rush around November and December. I did promise a free alternative, and that is using the Wayback Machine. The Wayback Machine is like an archive of the entire web. It tries to save all the pages throughout the web, so you can have an archive and go back in the past. So how this works is you just go to the top 100 Amazon best-selling books, copy the URL and paste it into the Wayback Machine input field over here, and you're going to see a bunch of different snapshots for 2023 and 2024. So it's decently well populated for the top 100 best-selling books, but to be honest, as you start diving deeper into the category trees, it's going to be less. There's going to be less and less snapshots. But here we see the February 7th of 2023, Valentine's Day. If you go and explore some of the subcategories, there's going to be less snapshots. But you know, it is free, and you can still get some decent insights from this tool. Last but certainly not least, we have the foreign marketplaces. What this means is Amazon Germany, France, Italy, Spain, and even Amazon UK and Amazon Canada. So all of these are fairly substantial, to different degrees, fairly substantial marketplaces, which a lot of people forget. Yes, the US, Amazon.com, the US marketplace is #1. Yes, that is true. But there's also more competition there. So a lot of the times, there's actually a lot of really interesting niches in the other marketplaces. And so what I sometimes do is I actually look at all the different, or most of the different marketplaces, some key ones that I might be looking at specifically, to see whether how the niche performs in those other marketplaces. And sometimes my #1 target might not actually be in the US. So the main target might actually be Germany or France, and I might not be, the #1 goal might not be to be #1 in that niche in the US. That is also a valid strategy. So how would you go after the European marketplaces? You would translate the contents, the title, everything would be localized to the local marketplace. If you're doing medium content or low content, that is very easy to do, very low cost. You will have to publish a different book. Whereas, if you compare that to if you want to sell your book in, do well in the UK or Canada, you don't really have to do any extra work. There's no translation and no extra steps that need to be taken. But, foreign marketplaces are often just underlooked, and there's a lot of great opportunities. The Amazon Germany store is huge. European marketplaces are, the economy is strong, so people are also buying stuff. Again, it's not as big as Amazon US, Amazon.com in the US, but still they're very substantial, and you can make really good sales and income from these other marketplaces as well. So how would you go about doing research in these marketplaces? Pretty much everything, all the same stuff applies. You can use the Amazon bestseller categories. Again, you will go to Amazon.de or Amazon.co.uk or Amazon.fr to do your research, to browse the best-selling charts in these marketplaces. Or if you're going to be using the BookBeam niche finder, you can just select the marketplace there at the top. From the drop-down, select that marketplace. A lot of the same searches apply as well, and you'll see what is selling really well in those marketplaces. So what the case can be a lot of the times is that one niche that is in demand in one marketplace is actually in demand a lot of the different marketplaces. So you get to take advantage of the fact that a lot of people are just focused in this one place. You get to take advantage of the other marketplaces that usually are not as competitive. The ads are cheaper. You get to take advantage of them just because other people are not really aware of them as much as the US marketplace. So guys, those were the best methods that you can use to find great Amazon niches. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video.